The TCMMRC UR26, affectionately known as the Mermaid 220, is probably, from what I can find anyway, the cheapest 5-inch FPV drone you're going to find on the market today. But is cheap always good? Does cheap always mean buy cheap, buy twice? Or on this occasion, is this going to be good enough to get you in the air as a new FPV pilot with your first 5-inch? I'm going to answer those questions and no doubt many more within the next sort of 15 to 20 minutes. It'll probably run over. Grab yourself a nice ice cold drink, settle down, and let's find out what this budget build is all about. Now, I stopped short of saying bind and fly drone because it isn't actually a bind and fly drone. If we go through and have a look at the specs, it's actually quite well spec'd. Now, it is a 4S, which I think is probably not necessarily a bad idea for anybody who's new to the sort of 5-inch sphere. You've got less inertia, you've got less power. Sure, you can add a throttle cap to a 6S and make it fly in the same way, but it's still going to be heavier. So this does float really, really well, even with a DJI Action 2 on, and we'll have a look at that later on in the video. The flight controller is an F4. It's apparently got a 50 amp ESC with a 600 milliwatt VTX. What I do like about it is the fact that it's got a USB-C connector, even at this price point. So I'm looking at certain other manufacturers who are insistent on putting a USB micro because of cost. And yet we've got a build here that comes in at the cheapest I've ever seen a 5-inch available for. And it's got a USB-C. So let's stop it, guys. Let's make sure that we install USB-Cs on everything moving forward. And then I can stop whinging about it. I'll have to find something else to whinge about, won't I? Now, like I said, I did stop at saying that this is actually a bind and fly because it isn't. It doesn't come with a receiver. So you are going to need to solder in a receiver of your own. Now, I personally have got a ELRS receiver, and that's what I'm going to solder in, and I'll show you how we do it and set it up. The spec wise and the price, it's around about $100 currently at the moment. Prices are going to fluctuate, especially with all the tariffs now. So I'm going to get this video out as quick as I can. The production value may not be as good as it normally would have been, purely because I want to get this video out to you guys as quickly as possible before those tariffs really do hit and start biting in. As an example, a manufacturer contacted me yesterday and said, look, we want to work with you, but at the minute we're not sending any FPV products out to anybody because of the tariff and the trade war and all of the other issues going on. So let's get this video out. I apologize if it is slightly down on production value, but I think it's important that you guys see it as quickly as you possibly can to make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to jump on something so cheap before the price doubles. Let's go. So we're going to dive in with installing or soldering in the ELRS. Now I'm going to put it on the RX and the TX number 3. I did film some of this video a while ago. So Tim, if you're watching and you're asking why I'm using thick solder again, purely down to the fact that this video was filmed a couple of weeks ago, but I've had so much other stuff come in that has had to take priority because of contractual agreements. This has had to sort of been on the back burner. So I'm not going to show the setup and how you set it all up in Betafly. I do have a video for that. I'll get that out in the next coming days. Like I said, this video is aimed at getting it out as quick as possible so you guys can make an informed decision as to whether or not it's something you want to buy. So we'll get to the flight footage and stuff. But ultimately, to add a receiver, it's as simple as soldering on 4 wires. I've got a video, and I'll try and link it above, which teaches you or guides you, as opposed to teaching you, guides you how is best to sort of solder if you are a newbie. But again, I'll just talk through it as I'm doing it here. So the easiest and most efficient way is obviously pre-tin your wires first, which means adding a bit of solder to them. Once you've done that, what you need to do is heat up the pad. I'm just checking here, look, which is the TX and which is the RX, because I hadn't bothered checking before, because, you know, YOLO. Right, so what we do now is we heat up the pad. So we don't heat the wire, and this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong. Heat up the pad, it goes molten, slide the wire in and pull the iron away. That's not quite good enough, so I do go back and then I bridge the pads, and then we have to just like wipe it off and start the whole process again. But if you do bridge the pads, if you do make a mistake like that, don't panic. It's easily rectifiable. Now, not the best solder in the world, but it'll do a job. There we go. It'll do a job. We'll get on with soldering the rest of them. And again, I'll talk you through it. Like I said, the thing is, I show my mistakes, I show my errors, because most mistakes and most errors can be rectified, as you saw there. And it also shows that, you know, nobody's perfect. I think I actually struggle with this joint. And again, I don't intend to keep flying this drone. I've got to be honest. Not because it's bad, but just because of the other drones I've got and the other commitments I've got. So again, that isn't the best soldering job, but it'll do. It'll do. So then we go to the TX or the RX into the TX. Again, not the best, but it'll do. Again, the most important thing is that you heat up the pad, it becomes molten, and then just slide the wire into that molten solder, remove the iron, and away you go. Probably my worst ever soldering, but it doesn't matter because it worked, there was no problems, and it still works today. So let's move on. So we'll move into the flight footage. Now, I probably won't talk over all of it, although I'll do part of the community spotlight, so I probably will end up talking over all of it. But we can see from the DVR that the camera is the weak spot of this drone. It flies really well, it floats really well, you can sling it around without too much of a problem. My Action 2 does seem to have a little bit of vibration in it, which I've never noticed before as I'm watching this with you. So that I could probably do with investigating as to why. That's a strange one. It could just be an ESC setting, to be fair. The ESC may be set to 24 Hertz, and DJI don't tend to like that. But actually, from the flight characteristic point of view, really good. Now, I don't know why on the DVR it says 5-inch 1 watt. It doesn't do 1 watt. But realistically, for who this is aimed at, it's an easy quad to fly. It does what it's told when it's told and how it's told, and it will sort of let you float really well without any issues at all. Doesn't weigh a ton either, which means obviously if you do smash it into something, the chance is it's probably going to survive, because obviously the carbon is really thick as well. Now, I haven't flown 4-inch for about 3 years, 4S for about 3 years on a 5-inch, so I was getting used to this myself, and it did take a little bit, because I was a bit like, this is just, it feels almost too smooth, almost too just sort of floaty, but I got there in the end, and yeah, it's a nice drone. I'm not going to say it's a great drone, because it's not a great drone, but it's not priced at a great drone price either, is it? It's priced at a price point that will help you get into the hobby if this is the direction you want to go. Now, like I say, the jello in the camera I've only just noticed, so that is something I will investigate, and I'll come back to you guys on. But yeah, I think the rest of the footage probably speaks quite well for itself about how well it flies. Now, let's move on to the community spotlight and start with our members. First of all, we've got It's Luke FPV on Instagram, and on YouTube, we've got Airbender FPV, Han Solo, ABJ, Raining Squad FPV, Lifestyle FPV, SOS Death Valley, Trinity FPV, 420 FPV, GNCRC, Hello Outlaw, Mr. Oreo, Flyzone FPV, JVIP Gaming, Axon, Simca, Chaser FPV, Tim S, FPV Addict, Droney, Christopher Clayton, Silicon Photography, Club Alexandra, Boy Wonder FPV, Connor Clark, Doper FPV, Mark Duplex, Harry M Photography, JR FPV, James III of Boston, Phil Anderson, Not Here, Onyx FPV, Barry Morgan, and Only Drones. By the way, can I just give Barry Morgan and Only Drones a special shout? They've been members non-stop for 7 months. That figure would actually be longer if I hadn't have had loads of self-doubt when I first launched the memberships. And these two legends instantly joined, and I had loads and loads of self-doubt for a couple of months, and I ended up cancelling the memberships. So actually they would probably be on about 9 months by now. So absolute legends. Please do go and give them a follow. Now, the other thing that we do have available to you is Patreon, patreon.com/squadding quads. Now, let me give a shout out to our Patreon members first of all. And our shout out members are Trinity FPV, James Mason, and our other, and also SOS Death Valley Creations. Our other members, Eddie Emery, Ola Bergerveld, and Dionos Adventure Printing, are on the FPV Insider tier, and they will be entered into the competition to win the Radiomaster Pocket, which hopefully will have already been drawn by the time this video goes out. I'm hoping that the draw will be on Friday of the 11th of April, and I'm hoping this video goes out on the Friday night of the 11th of April. So we'll see how things sort of line up. But yeah, I am going to look at reorganizing the Patreon, to be honest with you, because of tariffs and things. So we are going to sort of just have a bit of a reorganization while things settle down and calm down, and then we'll revisit that in the future. But let's have a look at some of your comments. H. Schmidt said, they replaced my Neo after a flyaway crash for free. I did not need to use my DJI Care. I hope my new one won't do the same again. I hope so too, buddy. Thanks for the comment. GB Killer says, mine is a nutter. I have calibrated the compass and the IMU and it's still off its tits. I don't fly it anymore. That's how I got up with mine. And ultimately the last sort of straw that broke the camel's back, I thought, well, I'll send it back to DJI because at the end of the day, they don't replace it. I'm not going to fly it anyway. And then Synchro says, it does surprise me that there aren't really any FPV helis about. And you're absolutely right. There is one, I think. But hopefully, if my big one decides to stop crashing into the ground every time I fly it, I'll FPV it and FPV it properly. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks, fingers crossed. If you want to get involved in the next community spotlight, all you need to do is leave a really great comment down below. Just make it stand out. Good, bad, negative, whatever. Just make it stand out, and I'll pick 3 at random for the next video. Now let's find out whether you should buy this drone or not. And we come to the part of the video where ultimately we have to decide if you should buy the drone, and if you should buy the drone, who should buy the drone. And I think in the circumstance that we're in, for $100 with tariffs stopping some FPV companies even sending anything out to anywhere, not just America, we're going to see prices double. And that's not hyperbole. That's not me like panicking and saying, oh, we are going to see prices double. Now, hopefully they will return back to where they are today. However, what tends to happen, certainly in the UK, and anybody who's watching this in the UK will agree with me, when prices go up and then the cost of the goods or whatever it is comes back down to the original value, the price never comes back down with it. So as an example, fuel went up because of the cost of the crude oil to say, let's just say £1.50 per litre. And then the cost of the crude oil came back down to where it was before. Let's say it was £1 a litre, but the cost stayed at £1.30 a litre. So it comes back down a little bit, but never falls all the way back down to where we were at the start. And that's the worry. So if you're contemplating getting a 5-inch and you're not sure whether you want to spend sort of £400-500 on a DJI 04 Pro version, and you've got a set of analog goggles, maybe you've got a tiny whoop. Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that, Jesse. I'm so sorry. Maybe you've got a micro quad that's a whoop that's also tiny. Then in that case, I would seriously take a look at this. You're going to need soldering skills because it doesn't come with a receiver. So you're going to have to factor in an extra $10, €10, £10, depending where you live, to get that receiver in there. But ultimately, with the situation that we're in, because of the tariffs and because of the retaliation on both sides, it is going to escalate. So if you're at the stage now where you're ready to buy an analog 5-inch because you want to sort of progress, the weather's lovely outside right now, you want to go flying, you want something a bit better than this whoop that you've got that's tiny. See what I did there, Jesse? Didn't say it. Then in that case, I can highly recommend this. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. That camera's a real issue, and my advice would be to change that camera because I struggled to fly with it. You can fly with it, but I would genuinely recommend the first thing you do is change the camera. The motors are okay. The flight controller's an F4. The ESC apparently is quite highly rated. You've got a USB-C on there. Like I said, the only negative is genuinely that camera. So if you can just change that camera for something else. The best FPV camera that's analog is a Cadex Ratel 2, which I don't think is the same width as this. So you'll need an adapter. I don't know if it comes with one. It's been a long time since I've done analog FPV. Forgive me. The wires on this thing are a bit weird. It's built to a budget at the end of the day. But what it is cheap, and it flies actually quite well. And I dare say, give me a few months or whatever, I'll tune it, I'll fly it again, and I'll drop a decent tune on it, because the tune is okay. It's not brilliant. But I would recommend, if you are on the fence about maybe buying one, I'll leave a link in the description down below to AliExpress. Go and grab one before either they stop shipping them totally, like certain other companies have, or they increase prices like everyone else is going to do. And I think that day is coming. I've got an email from, I can't say who actually, on the 19th of April. They're going to be increasing prices as well. So I think if you're on the fence, now is the time. I've rambled more than enough. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll reply to all of you. You're all legends. You're all heroes. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.